So it appears that this week Polyphony have a brand new addiction, and they've taken it to levels that have never been achieved before. So here we are in the sport mode section of the game. We have daily races, online time trials, and of course the Nations Cup exhibition series. Now I'm first of all going to head into the daily races and go over to daily race A. Now as you can see, this is very much a Super Formula themed event. This is something that we've seen plenty of times before. It's hosted at Suzuka Circuit over 6 laps for 16 cars and features both variants of the SF23 Super Formula. So really nothing too out of the ordinary here. Very much a, kind of typical daily race A affair here. However, if I back out and head to online time trials, something got added today. And as you can see, this is a lap time challenge at Suzuka Circuit. Once again, featuring both variants of the SF23 with Toyota and Honda. And as you can see, this is very much under the exact same settings that we've already seen for Daily Race A, which was added in earlier on this week. Again, Suzuka Circuit features here as well. But that's not where things end. If I head over to the final section here for the Nations Cup, well, there's also a race that takes place this weekend. And well, would you believe it? Suzuka Circuit is appearing once again and a specified car. What exactly is that? Well, if I click over here, you can see that this is very much once again the SF23 Super Formulas over at Suzuka Circuit. 3 of the exact same event in one single week. Now before I do get into discussing this, as I do feel like it's a bit of a recurring problem, but it's never been on this scale before, of course this weekend is the beginning of the 2025 Super Formula season, and it does take place at Suzuka Circuit. And of course, with the SF23 and Super Formula being a part of Gran Turismo, well, it makes sense that it would show up in some shape or form. And well, we thought that was just the case this week with Daily Race A. But as I mentioned, Polyphony do have this newfound addiction this week where they have copy and pasted this exact same combination 3 times across the board. Of course, Sport Mode is pretty much its own portion of Gran Turismo 7, and it does have its separate modes. Of course, we have the World Series, which features the Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Cup, daily races, which is something that rotates every single week, and of course, online time trials. But again, their newfound addiction has been taken absolutely too far. Now, of course, it does make sense, like I mentioned, that the SF23 and Suzuka Circuit, considering they're already in Gran Turismo 7 and it's a premium Japanese racing series, would feature in some shape or form this week. But to do it 3 times through all 3 of your different modes within sport mode is absolutely ridiculous. Surely there's been some type of complete communication breakdown internally at Polyphony for this to happen. It makes 0 sense that we would see the same thing copy and pasted 3 times. Now I know I'm not alone here, but one of my biggest gripes about GT7 in its sport mode after around about 3 months of playing it after launch was that it became incredibly repetitive, incredibly fast. In fact, there was the whole joke amongst the community that in 2023, Late Majeur would show up almost every single week in some shape or form. And even when it isn't Late Majeur, you can guarantee if you get a combination with either Group 4 or Group 3 cars at a specific track, it will more than likely then show up again within a month. It's absolutely ridiculous that so many tracks inside of GT7 never ever get a look in, and so many different types of vehicles never ever get shown. So for this to happen once again in perhaps the biggest blunderous way that I've ever seen is really ridiculous. Now, from what I can gather, Polyphony is a relatively smaller company in terms of how many employees it has and how many developers are working on their games and such in comparison to others. So you would think that their communication would be much better than a company that's littered with thousands of employees, where something like this could possibly slip through the cracks, but absolutely not. There must be a complete lack of communication internally with Polyphony, or if it's just one single guy coming up with these, he must really not enjoy his job whatsoever. Something has gone seriously wrong for this to happen, and it is completely bizarre. This is supposed to be the flagship racer for the PlayStation console, Yet Polyphony seem to do just Polyphony things all the time. It really isn't kind of beyond their reach for them to actually do this. In fact, it doesn't even seem surprising anymore that something like this would happen. Now, admittedly, if it wasn't for multiple of you guys actually highlighting this to me today, I would have probably never ever even given it a second thought. But again, I thought I'd just go ahead and just have a look at what people were mentioning, and well, it is true. Yeah, the exact same thing has been copy and pasted 3 times, and for me it just highlights what has been a massive problem for sport mode for what feels like the longest time now, and that is just the repetition of it. Hopefully they kind of take a look back at this week, realize the absolute mess they've made, and the complete repetition of the same exact thing 3 times, and really start working on pushing sport mode in the direction it deserves. Just shake it up a bit. Anyway, that's it from me. Massive thank you to all of you guys that have been watching at home. Have a fantastic start to your weekend. Take care, guys. Peace.